I've cooked up a brand new industry on my layout. Check it out right now here on the main track. Hey everyone, welcome back to the main track. It's great to have you along today. My M-K-T Sedalia Subdivision layout now has a rival. Not talking here about a competitor, but my newest industry, which is called Rival Manufacturing. Now, it's a brand name you know from kitchen appliances, things like crock pots and can openers. It was one of the biggest industries and employers in Sedalia, Missouri at the time of my layout, which is the 1980s. Now, along with my new industry, I've completed the basic work on this entire corner of the layout. You see a couple of new streets I have laid here, also a little bit of landscaping done, and lots more to go, but of course it'll provide some projects for us on some future episodes. Now, this is what this side of the layout looked like the last time we talked and did a layout update, and this is what it looks like now. As you can see, I had a few productive weekends and made some nice headway. Now, with all this work completed, I figured it was time to have fun and operate some trains. We've set the clock back to the summer of 1986. It's a warm afternoon here on the 14th Street crossing as we wait for the local from Clinton to roll into town. The Sedalia subdivision wasn't exactly the busiest of the Katy's main lines. The line only saw 2 scheduled freights each day, one from Dallas to St. Louis, one from St. Louis to Dallas, the local train in and out, and several times a week, coal trains. Now, once the local finishes its duties up at the yard, the crew of the Sedalia switcher gets busy. The local had dropped off a boxcar for Rival, and we'll be picking that up and taking it to the plant. GP 39-2, number 373, which would have been nearly new at this point, leaves the siding for its run to the yard. Our crew backs into the yard to pick up that rail box car, couples up, and then heads back out onto the main. We'll have to run in reverse to get back to the plant. After passing over Highway 50, the train comes to a stop just shy of the 10th Street crossing to throw the switch to the Rival spur. First up, we'll be fetching this loaded Missouri Pacific boxcar. After we pull the loaded car, we'll leave it out on the main and then back down to the spur to drop off the empty. And after picking the Mopac boxcar back up, the switcher heads right back to the yard. Now, taking a look back at the plant, I always found this building to be pretty interesting because of where the loading docks are. The main line curved along the side of the building, but the spur came in on the opposite side of the plant. The building's west side was built at an angle up against the curve in the Katy right-of-way. The real building was about 500 feet long, but as you can imagine, that would take up a lot of space and real estate here on the layout. It would have looked kind of overpowering, in fact. My version here is about half the size of the prototype on the width here, but I've done my best to replicate the general shape and angles of the facility. The spur to the rival plant was the remnants of an old Missouri Pacific branch line, and at one point Missouri Pacific did serve the rival plant. But at some point around 1980, service was actually transferred to the M-K-T. Now, I don't plan on going into the long details about all the cutting and gluing and painting I did on this project. That could be for a future episode, but I wanted to show you the basics of how I got to this point. Now, for the building itself, I used Pike Stuff's Milton A Corporation kit. It's the biggest structure kit offered by Pike Stuff, and it's basically a hodgepodge of pieces and shapes from its other popular kits, and with this you can build the kit that's shown on the package or kit bash whatever you need. I built Pike Stuff kits in the past, and those have been rectangular or square footprints, so quite a bit easier than this project. With this one I had to get the odd shape and angles of the building just right. This Pike Stuff kit represents a metal building which works for half of my complex. The other half, though, was built of cinder blocks, and for that I used cinder block styrene sheets from JTT. After everything was put together and ready to go, I painted the structure a cream white color, just like the prototype. Well, it took me a few weeks, but finally I completed my rival manufacturing plant, filling up this corner of the layout here. It took me a little longer and a little more work than I was expecting, but I'm certainly glad how things turned out with this. And now I'm glad to have another industry here on the layout to switch during my little operating sessions. I've already started on my next leg of the project, which will include some more neighborhoods and a grain elevator complex as well as a cement plant, so I definitely have plenty to keep me busy right here on the Katy Sedalia Sub. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's great to see you as always, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time right here on the main track.